Shouts out Big Steve.
Shout out Mikey B. UFC 321, one last breakdown before the pay-per-view. I'm locked in. Unfortunately, I spend way too much time taping UAE Warriors and ACA to basically break even. So I'm excited to actually watch some UFC fights. I've pretty much taped this entire card. How many bets do I have? We'll see. We'll see. Well, let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any time. We're trying to make money here. Time is money. Yeah. And Dubai is associated with money. Alrighty. Jacqueline Amarim and Mizuki Inway. This is a tough fight to get a read on. Right. Inway, a grappler by trade. She has a karate black belt, but she's clearly a grappler. She has a shit ton of arm bars, and she's never been submitted. Right. She's had a fight with Verna Jandiroba, who we'll speak about later on. And, you know, she had 5 rounds of being on bottom and didn't get submitted, even got out of her arm bar. So never been finished, never even been KO'd. You know, she was dropped badly by Amanda Lemos in the UFC debut and just recovered. So has both durability and striking durability and submission defense. But, you know, I've fallen for these before. You know, I thought, wow, this girl or this guy, durable, great submission defense, and then they get subbed. You know, a couple of fights come to mind. Kevin Hollander versus Khamzat Chimaev. I played fight to start round 2 because, you know, at that point, Holland hasn't been submitted many times, and he's a good black belt. And the other one was playing the over 2.5, Pick'em. Yeah. Ferguson versus, what's his name now? The guy with the rear naked chokes. I forgot his name, but he couldn't even finish Diego Sanchez and Michael Chiesa. And then Chiesa takes him down and submits him. So, again, those guys were quite washed. And, you know, Inouye's coming off a massive layoff, a bunch of injuries. So maybe Amarim just takes her down and subs her, but I will say, let me just shout out my boy Lucky Team. Shout out Lucky Team. Shout out Litz. I need to shout out my boy Aussie Fight Fan. So for all the Aussies, you know, there's a bookie called Dabble, and, you know, I've been avoiding it for years. Just like I already have, you know, Battle9, all these other books. I can't be bothered making it. And I made it because he just posted a same game parlay on Dabble, which is Jacqueline Amarim 1 takedown in round 1, which is almost a given. And the fight to start round 2 is paying $17. And I'm like, that can't be right. So I download the app, and it's right. It's correct. So I put $50 on it to win $700 and something. And then I'm going through all these other same game parlays just for that one fight. And it's like Jacqueline Amarim 1 takedown and, you know, in round 1, and just to win is like $3 plus 400 or something. And it's just like Jacqueline Amarim 2 takedowns and even crazier odds. I'm like, man, this is crazy. So when I get off the show, I'm just going to abuse my Dabble account. You know, it's in my name. It's one of the only Aussie bookies that I haven't been banned from. You know, Sportsbet and Neds and all them have been banned from years ago. So shout out Aussie Fight Fan. I know he posts his Dabble slips every single week, but that one stood out to me because I think this fight, you know, Amarim most likely gets a takedown, but it goes into round 2, for example. You know, Poliana Viana, of all people, went into round 2. You know, Montserrat Ruiz went into round 3. Sam Hughes went into round 2, round 3. So, yeah, I feel like that's a no-brainer, man. I put $50. I might put more on. We'll see. But it's a hard fight to get a read. Like, will Amarim actually be the first to finish Inouye? I wouldn't be surprised, but the over 1.5 rounds is minus 200. Don't really like it. So if I was going to play anything, I'll play maybe Amarim. You know, round 2, round 3, Amarim by decision, some takedown props, but yeah, I'm going to abuse Dabble. Azat Maksum versus Mitch Raposo, you know, another fight. I didn't really go too much in depth. It should be a levels fight. Azat is better. Mitch, whatever. I kind of thought Mitch was good, but as I said on the early tease, he doesn't really fight for your money. So Azat or pass, whatever, maybe a parlay piece. It's in Abu Dhabi. And whatever, maybe some takedown props, some finish props. We move on. Chief Red Cloud, what's up, Daddy? What's up to you? Lucky Team, Azat weighed in at 129. I remember that. That's fine. Hey, it's all right. The guy that I was fading in ACA weighed in at 129 and he cost me my bet. That's probably a good thing. Alrighty. Chris Barnett, Hamdi Abdelwahab. What a funny fight. Basically, you know, Chris Barnett is the bottom of the barrel, literally bottom of the barrel. I classify him with Josh Parisian or anyone else that's as bad as that. And somehow he has 2 wins in the UFC. Gian Vellante, and Jay Collier. So props to Jay Collier for being one of those guys to give Chris Barnett a finish win in the UFC. Essentially, Kennedy, Martin Budai, Ben Rothwell, any of these guys that are just above that level can finish him. Hamdi should finish him. He's more talented. He's 32. He's got a wrestling background. He's more athletic. He's fat, but his levels are fat. And Chris Barnett takes it. Man, I basically I feel like Hamdi should get a finish here if he goes for it. Like Chris Barnett, he's been finishing every single UFC loss, right? Kennedy, Budai was via injury, but that's Budai being one of the worst finishes in the UFC period. Ben Rothwell, submission. But even when you watch the Jay Collier fight, instantly dropped, taking his back, flattened out, and Gian Vellante didn't really watch that fight. Don't even plan on it. But it's like, even on the regionals, he's got like 3 KO losses in a row at one point in Korea or whatever it was. So he looks kind of tough. He had a great comeback against Jake Collier, but at the same time, it's like he might not be as tough as we think. He's 40 years old almost. Like he pulled a hamstring doing spinning wheel kick against Kennedy. It's like dude's just kind of just falling apart in there. But do I want to rely on Hamdi to actually go for the finish, or will he just circle around and look to have a competitive fight? Same time, Muhammad Usman hurt Hamdi like 2-3 times in his fights. Didn't really watch the Pogues fight, but Dontel Mays hurt him. He hurt Dontel Mays bad. Dontel Mays' chin is actually semi-solid. He doesn't have many KO losses. So, yeah, I mean, Hamdi inside the distance potentially, but I don't want to force anything on these first 3 fights, man. Like Amarim, Inway, Maksum. But I will say, I feel like maybe forcing a 3-legged parlay there and just hoping for the best. I think that should get you close to plus money. I don't know, but yeah. Hamdi inside the distance. If I was going to play an official play, it would be fight ends in round 1 and 2. Just in case it goes over 1.5 rounds. Second half of round 2, it gives a bit of extra time if it's a attritional injury / gassing. And I also give Chris Barnett some finishing upside. You never know. Alrighty. Sign Diabla y Matapoi. Hi, Big Steve. Hello, guys. Hello, mate. That's the last time I'll be saying your name. AWMD, Hamdi season, baby. Yes. Take out all the money from the pyramids and put it on Hamdi. Jose Delgado and Nathaniel Wood. I mentioned that I already take this fight, and I liked Delgado, but I put the brakes on a little bit because I've faded Nathaniel Wood like 3-4 times already. Pretty much lost every single time. Right, one of the times it was decent sized underdog on Andre Fili, and he looked like he was the most likely to win. 29-28, dropped him twice. Other times I played minus money on Charles Jourdain, expecting big moments, nothing, completely shut him down. And played Morgan Sharia at minus money, expecting big moments, completely shut him down. Another 30-27. So it's like, I know Jose Delgado well. He's the last person and the only person I put a max bet on in all of 2025 against Conor Matthews. Ran through him, pretty much minimum sweat. So I know him, I know he's a little bit scrappy. He's not a perfect fighter. He can be dropped, but offensively he's insane. So I'm kind of relying on him, again, to get big moments. Like I did with Morgan Charrier, like I did with Andre Fili and Charles Jourdain. And again, it's a chalky price, and it's going to look very square if Nathaniel Wood shuts him down, drops him, takes him down. Delgado is hittable. But it's just like, what if I'm not there when Jose Delgado finally sparks Nathaniel Wood and I'm not there after all these failed fades? That's going to piss me off. So I might get on it. I'm surprised more money's not coming on Nathaniel Wood. I see that it's his last fight on his contract, and he's kind of self-aware of what the UFC is doing to him. Like he's on a win streak, and they're not really giving him tough opponents. They keep giving him prospects, and I think the UFC is pretty high on Jose Delgado, so they know that if he puts Nathaniel Wood out of here, like knocks him out, then Wood potentially won't have any bargaining power, and he might want to leave the UFC because he's a good fighter, but not the most exciting. He's got a lot of decisions. So it's for me, it's personally Jose Delgado or pass. The under is also has my attention. It was plus money when I did the early teas. Now it's pick'em, and you have to favor it. A Jose Delgado under 2.5 rounds has to be favored because he's finishing these guys under 1.5 rounds. Right, it rarely goes over 2.5. So And Nathaniel Wood, that left hook that he landed on Morgan Charrier, and it could have killed a lesser durable fighter. And he also had Charles Jourdain doing the stanky leg. So this guy hits very, very hard. So the under and Jose Delgado will pass if I had to play anything. But minus money again, it's got me a little bit shook. Delgado missed weight. Interesting. I didn't know he missed weight. Oh, actually, no, I do. I remember him getting on the scale and needing the box. Chef, red bet, no bet. Alrighty. Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. What do we make of this fight, right? Louis, he's got 3 losses. Every single loss is him getting grappled, right? I watched him back in PFL. Moreno Katsapor, Slim Trabelsi, and Abraham Babli. But he's got good get-ups, and they're all not able to finish him. And Abraham Babli, probably the best fighter. I just laid like almost $2,000 on his under 1.5 rounds in PFL, and he's got good ground and pound. He's very athletic. And he must have taken down Louis like 10 times, and Louis just keeps getting up. And then he fought Alton Meeks, who's a credential wrestler, and he kept getting up against him too and knocked him out. Kept getting up against Slim Trabelsi, so he gives his back up and works his way up. He's never been submitted, but he's never fought anyone that actually has any jiu-jitsu. So it's like, how do I cap this fight? Walter Walker is massive favorite, and I would pretty much only parlay him if I was guaranteed that he would get another round 1 heel hook submission. But I can't guarantee that here because there's a bit of uncertainty. Like, look at the guys that is heel hooking. Right. First of all, it's Tafa, right? Crazy. Easy submission any day of the week, Junior Tafa. Then it's Dontel Mays, a guy that's already been heel hooked by Cyril Gane in the UFC, so he's very susceptible to it. And then Kennedy Nchuku, sure, that's one that may be probably the best guy on his record. But also it's Kennedy Nchuku, who's the guy that was, triangle choked by Paul Craig. So he's prone to stupid stuff and massive feet too. Man, the torque that Walter Walker had on that heel, insane. So he's just like, he's submitting guys with round 1 heel hooks that you can't expect. And Louis Sunderland, like, yeah, he's going to take him down, but if Louis just gives his back straight away, who knows? Like, he's got 1 rear naked choke, Walter Walker, and he had Louis Bresky's back multiple times and couldn't finish it. And also, like, he's coming in much better shape, right? That's one of the reasons I liked him versus Junior Tafa at Pick'em, because he clearly came overweight versus Bresky, and he's been in better and better shape every single fight. 244. But we don't know, like, is he still going to gas out? Because he's like running at these guys, like trying to go for takedowns. So who the hell knows? I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. So therefore, I don't know. I don't know if I want to play the over 1.5 rounds at minus money. Is he going to get another heel hook? So therefore, I go for the plus money. But if I had to play anything, I'll probably just play Walter Walker round 1 sub again and move on. Don't overthink it. Louis, I would potentially live bet him because I think he's very slim margins, split decision, potentially like the Bresky fight. Alrighty. Plowing through this card. As I said, I'm locked in. I'm getting good reads, but I wish the card was better for betting. I really wish it was better because this is my last chance to make some good profit in October, but we'll see. Mateusz Rebecki versus Ludovic Klein. I mean, I said personally the under at plus money and Mateusz Rebecki at plus money, but I can't lock it in. My gut is saying don't lock this in. Maybe if I had a bit more money on Mateusz Rebecki, because this guy's been in wars, man. This guy's been eating shit against Ferreira, against Oralba, against Chris Duncan, just insane level of damage and scar tissue. And the August fight was 3 months ago against Chris Duncan. Pretty much should have been stopped because of the doctor stoppage, and it wasn't. So it didn't really matter in the end, but he almost came back and won round 3 and almost won the fight. So he should have thanked the doctor if that happened. But Ludovic Klein, he just seems like a guy that can be broken, that can be pressured. Really good takedown defense, but against who, you know? Literally Mason Jones, Thiago Moises, and that's it. Right? No one else really tried to take him down. He fought a bunch of strikers like Bahamondes, who he can take down himself. And yeah, Mason Jones, dreadful wrestling. Devonta Smith, striker, couldn't even knock him out, very chinny. Michael Truzano, he kept taking him down, but Truzano just kept going for guillotines and lost a decision. Nate Landwehr broke him, so maybe Rebecki can break him. if anything, I'll probably play Rebecki submission because Ludovic has a bunch of submission losses on his record. Aiden Lee back in the day. And Rebecki's he's been a black belt for a long time. Even though he cracks, right, has a good armbar against Roberts, he will jump off the back to go for submissions, which is why I can't play him anymore. But he's an underdog here, a slight underdog. So I don't know. It's a weird fight. My gut is saying this is extremely volatile. Rebecki walked into a straight head kick from Chris Duncan, who's slow and lumbering, and Ludovic Klein is actually going to be a lot faster and sharper if Rebecki is just going to walk into him, with zero defense, bobbing left and right. You can't bob away from a head kick. You can just bob into it. So, I don't know, strange fight. And if I play the under here, man, these guys, Ludovic Klein can't even finish Roosevelt Roberts, right? Almost took him a whole round to finish AJ Cunningham. Jay Herbert is chinny. Devontae Smith is chinny. Like, basically his only finish since his debut against Shane Young is AJ Cunningham. And I didn't play that because I was so shook by how bad of a finisher he is in his fights that I missed out on that easy money. But yeah. And something about Mateus Rebecki's fights, like Diego Ferreira almost didn't finish him. There was 9 seconds to go and both his eyes were shut. Oral by should have been knocked out, but the ref didn't stop it. And the Chris Duncan should have been a doctor stoppage as well. So something about his fights, the refs and the doctors let him go on because maybe they love him too much. They love the bleed, the just bleed. So who knows, man? Again, another volatile fight. Might just have to go the under. What's the doesn't go now? Let me just have a look. We're finding good plays live on air. Sin, he took more than 300 shots in the last 3 fights he landed, but he landed even more. Yeah, I mean, at least he's not minus 200 like against Chris Duncan. Subhuman Gaucho, what's up, champ? I like Rebecki a fair bit here. Tell me why. I mean, I think I know why. He's going to pressure. He's going to go for takedowns. Right? He should, in a way, swamp. He should swamp Ludovic better than Gamrot swamped him, right? Because Gamrot has no finishing upside. Alrighty. Ikram Adesanya versus Jong Yong Park. So this fight right here is probably the closest I've been on a straight money line play on an underdog, right? Jong Yong Park, you know what he's going to do. He's going to come forward. He loves the jab. He loves the pressure. He's got underrated grappling, and he swamps you, right? Relatively durable. His biggest issue is he tanks damage, especially in that first round. He's not really concerned with blocking. He just tries to roll with everything, but because of that, he was dropped by Brad Tavares in round 1. He was quite hittable against a lot of guys, Tafon and Eric Anders, and Gregor Rodriguez knocked him out as he hurt him because he just doesn't really have any defense, right? But the good thing about him is he always fights the same. So I played him against Ismail Nuriev, and I think it was also in Abu Dhabi, I'm pretty sure. And that fight has some similarities to Ikram. Ikram, as I mentioned, I taped this guy so many times, for Contender Series and then for every single UFC fight. And my questions never get answered about him. He's ran through Wally Alves, Phil Hawes, and Andre Muniz in round 1, which means nothing. He's just handled him how he should have handled him. And then when I played him against Robert Whittaker, plus 150, I think it was, as an underdog, I'm like, you're giving me this prime Dagestani with power against the washed Whittaker, I'll take it. And he just gets sparked in round 1. And Robert Whittaker hasn't done that to anyone since or before, right? I faded him against René de Rita, and you saw how he looked. He's always been fragile. And I think maybe if Ikram landed first, Whittaker would have died. But unfortunately, Whittaker landed first in that one. So, yeah, there might be some chin issues from Ikram. I also saw him kind of stumbled by Phil Hawes. And, yeah, he was killed with 1 shot against Khamzat. So the only 2 guys he's fought, they ran through him, right? Up past his prime Whittaker and, maybe before his prime Khamzat. But everyone else, he's just handling bums like you should handle bums. So I originally said I think these guys are similar ranking, right? Jong Yong Park has proved that if you're not UFC level or you're not ranked, he'll run through you, right? Albert Duraev drops him, submits him. I mean, who submits Dagestanis, right? Albert Duraev might not be the best, high-level Dagestani, but he's not bad, man. He's not bad. Like, he was knocked out by Buckley, And how many others, who has submitted Albert Duraev? So Park just broke him. He broke Ismail Nordiev even after eating an illegal knee. So, man, at $3, I'm kind of also considering, do I live bet it? Because just like the Nordiev fight, Ikram's probably going to be lighting him up. He's bigger. He's got power. Park's going to be pressuring with no regard for defense. But I also was going to live bet the Ismail fight. And because I was chasing my losses, I didn't. And there was no time to live bet that fight. Basically, Park came out swinging, got dropped, and then instantly dropped Ismail, and then the live betting was gone. He was a favorite for the rest of the fight. So that was a tough clip because he was a favorite, and you knew that Ismail was faster and quicker in round one. But here, he's a plus 200 underdog. So if Ikram is faster, like whatever, who cares? Because he might be chinny. He's 32. He's not some prospect. And if he wrestles hard for 3 rounds, he's probably going to gas because there's not much footage of Ikram versus good fighters, as I said. Right. Last time he went to decision was against Nonchon Burrell in 2022, just a regional journeyman, and it was a 29-28 across the scoreboard. He lost round 3 unanimously. So you're telling me Park is not better than Nonchon Burrell? The time he went to decision before that was a split decision with Chad Hanekom, the guy that Dylan Budka beat on the NY Contender Series. Before that, he went to round 3 with bloody Dennis Tululin. So I just think Ikram is not that great. He's just high-rolled these dudes. He's knocked them out. And they're chinny, and he should have knocked them out. And also the recency bias. He knocked out Andre Muniz, who actually beat Park, and everyone is just like, oh, he's better, he's worse. MMA math. So, yeah, for me, I'm very close. I'm just figuring out, do I live bet? Do I put half a unit on the money line and just whatever, it's plus 200, wins or lose, and I can add more live as well if need be? Or do I play the handicap? I didn't even look at the handicap. Let me just look at the handicap now. I'm not really a fan of handicaps, but point spreads. But I mean, this one, I just don't envision that Ikram 30-27. The only way I see it losing is, I don't envision it even in Abu Dhabi. The only way I see it losing is if he gets finished. Well, John Young Park handicap plus 3.5 is plus 100. It's $2. It's plus money. That's a play for me. And also the 2.5 rounds is pick'em as well. That might be a play for me too. Wow, I didn't realize that. I don't think Ikram's going to finish Park. The only little concern I have is Park might finish him later on because he's got underrated power. Well, there you go. So there's a few things I like on this fight. So that might be my first official play. All right, what do we have? Danny D, what's up, Danny D? Park by decision, but it's in the Middle East. Yeah, man. I wouldn't get cheeky with it. He's plus 200, so just play the money line. Play the money line. Play the over if you like decision. I like that handicap a lot. Subhuman, I think he can crowd and negate the best parts of Klein's game. He also a lot more aggro than Gamrot. Klein has some fortunate matchups. I will say Klein is very good on the back foot. So if he's getting pressured, he can, like, watch the Mason Jones fight. He just counters, he lands. He can even head kick on the back foot. So he's very dangerous to pressure. From Rebecki interview, I would guess he will go for another brawl. I mean, you don't have to watch interviews, man. Rebecki doesn't have another gear other than just brawling. Iron Turtle, very tempting. May just look for a live entry. Yeah, that's... I mean, if I go through this whole card with no bets, then I'm just going to have to lock something in like Iron Turtle. So Iron Turtle live can have a lot of money, a lot of value. Maybe. But if it's a close fight, we could get a worse line than plus 200. Yeah, that spread is interesting. Basically just fading Ikram early finish. Yep. There lived a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, and his eyes a flaming glow. Thanks, Lana. That's very poetic. Alrighty. That's right, Haqparast. Quinlan Salkilld. This fight right here, my initial gut was this is too much of a step up for Quinlan. He was very hittable in both his fights. Gage Young and Ashmuz. Not the best fighters, honestly. I would say barely UFC level. And he's 25, and he's now going to try and grapple Nasrat and be hittable against the guy that has a really good boxing style, very good southpaw left overhand. And I think that might cost him. And then my gut was like, this is all before tape. My gut was like, you know what? Salkild's the side here. Like he kind of reminds me of the Dan Hooker fight. Years ago, I played some minor chalk on Dan Hooker, where Dan Hooker was taking that fight on extremely short notice. And also Nasrat's mother passed away. So both guys were compromised. Hooker barely got approved for his visa, and he just made cutting weight. And then also Nasrat, his mother passed away. And I was like, who's going to be more affected by the circumstances? And Nasrat was like, he barely threw, man. He just kept backing up and didn't do anything. Just Hooker slightly outstruck him in every round, and then he finally hit takedowns in 2 and 3. And the Nasrat bottom game looked really bad. And yeah, the more I thought about it, I'm like, I know Nasrat well, man. Like the Lando Quinones fight, 29-28, it's a war. Jared Gordon fight, this is a washed Jared Gordon that's always been chinny. 29-28 split, and there's no grappling. He stuffs every takedown, but he still almost loses a striking fight to Jared Gordon. And then I think the fact that he beat Rebecki as a decent-sized underdog, and Rebecki has a ton of hype on him. That's why this fight is pick'em. But it's like, again, favorable matchup because Rebecki just brawls, has no defense, and he allowed Nasrat to outstrike him in rounds 1 and 2, and then gave away in round 3 because he gassed. And that's the thing, he gasses himself as well. He was hurt and busted up by Gordon. He was hurt by Rebecki in round 3. Quinones, again, it was a war. Even John McDessie fight, he stole a 29-28 decision against John McDessie with a couple of takedowns late in round 3 or 2. So it's like, he's not separating, man. He's not separating. But then there's a whole other aspect of, Quinlan is taking this short notice. He's already kind of redlining and going hard with his takedowns. If Nasrat stuffs a few and cracks him a couple of times, it's going to be kind of clear, and Abu Dhabi judges. So, I have a reason to play both, and I don't know if I have an edge at pick'em, but I think after tape, I've come back on Quinlan. He's 25. He is well-rounded enough that he can keep it competitive in the striking. He can kick, he can box, whereas Nasrat's always been like a stick-and-move kind of boxer and very one-dimensional, and he's never leveled up. But, if he gets a good styled matchup, like a chinny Jamie Malaki or Jared Gordon or Esteban Rebecki, he will edge him out. So, yeah, for me, I think it's Quinlan and pass. With a lot of comments, let me go through them. Chef thinks Nasrat. I have 3 units of Salkilld plus 120. That's a good line, honestly. Salkilld looks like a guy who can punch above his weight. Yeah. Quinn for the win. Who's Quinn? All right, Quinlan. Chuck in someone, Nasrat finish. I mean, the guy that couldn't finish Jared Gordon. He's a decision merchant. I don't know. Sin, I have 2 units on Nasrat over 1 round for plus 130. You mean Nasrat plus 1 over 1 plus start round 2? Same game parlay? Over 1 round is good play, but I don't think he will finish if not in first. I don't know what you guys are saying. Surely fight to start round 2 is going to be extreme chalk. The over 2.5 rounds is minus 200. So it makes sense. I think this goes to the decision. But yeah, I do feel Quinlan might have, if he gets him down, like potentially Dan Hooker, we could see some jiu-jitsu holes that we haven't seen in years for Quinlan. So that's essentially why I'm leaning him. Alrighty. We're on to the main card. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Leave me a comment. Leave me a comment of some bets, of something I'm wrong on, right? Let's try to level up as a community. Alrighty. Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. Sick fight. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous for my boy Rakic. It's not an easy fight. I have a lot of friends, a lot of sharp friends playing Rakic, and 2-3 fights in. Obviously, I know him well. I've been watching him since day one, since he made his debut against Francisco Barroso. And I don't know if I have an edge, right? He's going to calf kick and move. And yeah, that's probably going to work on Azamat for a while because Azamat's shorter and he doesn't really handle kicks well. Right, Tafon and Chukwi was separating from him because he was kicking and throwing knees. Devin Clark hurt him with a head kick, right? Which of all people, Devin Clark. But Devin Clark also almost knocked out Rakic, which is red flag. And yeah, so I think Rakic can take advantage of that kicking and moving for a bit, but he has no striking defense, and he's a bit stupid, right? He was brawling with Jan Blachowicz, and his chin held up, but he was just eating overhand rights. Jan is also another slow guy. Jiri was just landing on him, eventually knocked him out in round 3. Magomed Ankalaev was landing on him whenever he decided to throw. So I just think Azamat is faster, despite being 36 years of age. He can land on Rakic. And I don't know, I don't see an edge here unless I do more tape. So I'll leave it for later on in the day, because Rakic's decision equity as well. It's like, Jan, he was 1-1 going into the third, and then we didn't really see that fight play out. Jiri was, I guess, he got hurt in the round 1, so maybe he was 2-0 down. Ankalaev, he won round 1, but then round 2 and 3, he lost clearly, and it's like, he doesn't really have a second gear, a third gear. He can't turn it on. He's a point fighter from start to finish. Thiago Santos, same. Anthony Smith, same. Volkan Ozdemir, Volkan Ozdemir shut his calf kicks, and then he started calf kicking him, and that's it. Rakic couldn't adjust. He couldn't take him down. He couldn't out physical him, and the fight was over, and he lost the split. So I don't know. Everything leads to me to this being competitive. But what I am surprised about, over 2.5 rounds is pick'em. That's a bit funky to me, because Rakic incredibly durable. He's just been finished by Jiri, who finishes everyone, and that's it. That's it. Hurt by Devin Clark, recovered. Leg blew out against Jan Blachowicz. That's it. Not really dropped or anything versus Magomed Ankalaev. Chin held up. Azamat as well, never lost in his life. He has been hurt a couple of times, but it's like, how's Rakic going to hurt him? He was brawling with Alonzo Menifield. He was brawling with Dustin Jacoby, Tafon. So over 2.5 rounds, I feel like this is a competitive decision. And again, Azamat is Muslim, and don't know if I want to trust the judges. All right. Alexander Volkov, Jailton Almeida. Very, very volatile fight. Speaking of volatile fights, basically, I don't really feel comfortable playing Jailton Almeida round 1. Just Almeida moneyline at -200. I feel like he should be able to get a takedown. I think Volkov might surprise with his takedown defense. But end of the day, Jailton just shoots low and gets under him. He can take anyone down. But yeah, I just had this all week. My gut has been telling me Volkov KO. I feel like eventually they're going to separate. Like Volkov might be mounted or might get his back taken, and he's going to survive because he's been a black belt for years, like more than 5 years. They're going to separate and they're going to get up, and then they might, like Volkov might teep him to the gut or land a 1-2, that big overhand right, straight right that he knocks people out with, and he might just kill Almeida, right? Because Volkov hits very hard, man. He hits very hard. So that's just how I'm feeling. Like, and to be safer, I'm thinking, why don't I just play? I like the under 1.5 rounds, but personally, I would play fight ends in round 1 and 2. That's been my go-to. I've been playing it for a few weeks now. The pie for fight 1-2. You get the extra 2.5 minutes in round 2, and it's like you don't have to sweat it. And there's nothing worse than missing an under 1.5 round total by like 30 seconds or a minute. It just pisses you off. So I will probably play this ends in round 1 and 2, and hopefully it's not some boring clinch grapple fest. But I still don't like what I see from Jailton Almeida. Like, even when he ended up in bottom of Spivak, he hated that ground and pound. That ground and pound made him look really uncomfortable. So I like that. Volkov KO. Let me see. $4 plus 300 for Volkov KO. Maybe just sprinkle that, man. Maybe just sprinkle that. Is there a world where Volkov doesn't knock him out and wins? Maybe. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. I feel like if this is going into rounds 2 and round 3, this is not Derek Lewis. Like, Volkov's going to be teeping him. If Almeida's gassed, he's going to be cracking him. Even his ground and pound, man. Yeah, that's where we're at. Under 2.5 rounds, close to -200, maybe. Alrighty. Volkov KO, that's the read. Alright, Umar versus Bautista. I mean, this feels like there was some value in Mario Bautista, but I quickly revisited, and it's like, yeah, Umar is like his brother, who's or cousin Usman in PFL. Like in Abu Dhabi, he's just so athletic. He's so well rounded. He can grapple. He can strike. I don't know what Mario's meant to do here. Like Mario loves to grapple. He separates with physicality and grappling and cardio, and I don't know. I feel like he's drawing a little bit thin, and Umar's the only one with all the finishing upside here. So Mario's not really going to hold Umar like he did with Jose Aldo in round 3, for example. So yeah, moving on from this fight. I haven't really dug deep. I don't know if I might be forcing it, so we'll see. But if I'm going to bet Mario, I'll just see if Umar is like death gassed and it's potentially 1-1 going to the third. And even then, I'll approach with caution because with these judges, they might just give round 2 to Umar and he might be 2-0, My boy Michael, breakfast with Steve, my lucky day. What are you eating for breakfast, Michael? Some sausages and muffins? Let me know. Litz, Rakic going to look good until he dies. Could happen anytime too. I don't know, my friend. I do think Rakic has a very good chin. Rakic past round 1 is medical. Don't disagree with that. Volkov is big. He beat Gane. That's that. Volkov might get a finish. That's what I'm leaning. Volkov decision plus 900. Let's go. Well, I don't know, my friend. You're going literally against what I said. So let me have a look. I have to trust my gut. Here. Let me see. Volkov. Yeah, I feel like he got a decision against Gane and Pavlovich, but I just don't think Almeida's on that durability level. Everyone else, Rosenstruck, very durable. Romanov, Tai Vasa, Overeem, Walt Harris, surprisingly, could knock out a Chini Marcin Tabura. I think that was when he's transitioning, putting on more weight. But yeah. All right, let's move on. We went to Jandiroba, Mackenzie Dern. Look, from a betting perspective, tons of money on Dern. I missed out on the line. I didn't like it initially. I felt like the first fight was kind of pick'em-ish. 1-1 going into the third. Jandiroba pulled guard in the third. Dern pulled guard in the second. She had her nose broken by one of Jandiroba's kicks. These girls just flail. Neither of them have any striking, but Mackenzie Dern has a bit more power. She's a bit more enthusiastic. And I think there's a bit of recency. They think Dern can do what she did against a washed Rebus, pull guard and get omoplata sweeps and get an armbar. But in that fight, Rebus was so washed, so washed. She kept making stupid mistakes. She practically gave the armbar to Dern. That's not going to happen here. When Werner got on top against Dern in round 2, she didn't look in any danger. I think Werner personally has the better process, the better wrestling. So if she wanted to, I think she should and could take down Dern and sit on top of her and just stay safe. But I don't know. She didn't do it the first time, so I don't know what she's going to do here. I'm not really interested in this line on Mackenzie Dern. It's hard to say it's a dog or pass because I can now envision Dern winning. Like, it makes sense for her to be the favorite. But hopefully it's a back and forth fight, which it should be. It's a Mackenzie Dern fight, and there's, it's 1-1, 2-1, maybe even 2-2, who knows. And there might be some good live betting spots, but if you had Dern a plus money or pick 'em, then fair enough. Then you can bet it and say you got the good line and whatever happens. But right now I feel like it's a bit forced, personally. So, yeah, dog or pass, but I'm just going to live bet this fight. I guess the overs are a bit tempting. I don't really see anyone submitting one girl submitting the other. But 4.5 rounds is a lot, and there's a bit of gassing involved. Actually, I do think, I think I can confidently say this probably goes over. The only really concern is a slim margins Mackenzie KO. Right, the fight almost went into round 4 against Hebus. Amanda Lemos cracked her. Yeah, great chin. Werner's not really going to do that to her. Her armbars are like Ronda Marcos, Nina Nunez, and that's it until she got, I think this is, maybe play the over. That could be another play. I'm kind of liking that a lot. Just talk myself into it. What's 2.5? It's going to be like chalky as. Chalky. Slightly worse than minus 200. All right, let's move on. And the main event, Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. What to make of this fight? We still have questions about Tom Aspinall. We know that he's extremely fast. Brutal finisher, well-rounded. He can get takedowns. He made Volkov look like a white belt, which is quite impressive, and it's just aging wonderfully. And yeah, just anyone. Doesn't matter. You're Curtis Blades, you're Volkov, you're Sergey Spivak, you're Sergey Pavlovich. He'll just run through you, man. He'll run through you. You can be durable. You can never be knocked out. You can never be submitted. So it could very well do this to Cyril Gane as well, a guy that's not hard to take down, that was getting taken down and he got hurt by Volkov, got hurt by Tai Tuivasa. I could very well see Aspinall running through him once again. But I do not feel comfortable playing that or playing the under. So I would rather play the over 1.5 rounds and kind of hope that Cyril Gane is the first guy to go over the 1.5 rounds. Like, he is generally very fast, very fleet-footed, generally very risk-averse as well. I remember coming up, man, I used to just play 3-4-5 against, Derek Lewis, against Sergey Spivak, Tai Tuivasa, because you just know he's not going to do anything in the first round. Round 1 in 5 rounders, he literally does nothing. He's just standing there. But I even played the over 1.5 rounds against the Wash Junior dos Santos, and after that I was kind of more cautious because I was like, wow, that almost didn't cash. I didn't think, Gane had that kind of finishing instincts or aggression. So yeah, I don't know. I'd rather play the over, and the over is kind of like you're backing Gane. If it goes over, I feel like Gane is going to win. But if you play Gane and it gets finished, then you just lose your bet, just like you would have lost the over 1.5 rounds as well. So you can play the over 1.5 rounds, and you don't really care who wins, and then you can live bet Gane. That's where I'm at. I don't really have a strong take as of yet because there's so many questions against Tom. Tom is a jiu-jitsu player by trade, and he easily took down Alan Bordeaux, mauled him, and then just took down Arlovsky instantly and submitted him. It's like, and Volkov. So it's like, is this guy a phenom on the ground as well? And if he is, you should be able to maul Cyril Gane on the ground too. So it's a tough one. But what a sick fight. Two of the most athletic prime heavyweights fighting for the title. This is probably going to be the most impressive Aspinall title defense. And then after that, he can probably rinse Jailton Almeida. No one's really excited about Volkov Part 2. All right, let's go through the comments. I'll go over my potential plays and we'll get out of here. Dern plus starts round 2 plus 100 for me, but you can see Werner top time. I feel like either this is under. Chef with another pass. Mate, you're competing with me for passes. Danny D, thinking about Maksum Raposo 2.5. Now the Maksum is weight. I mean, honestly, mate, I don't really give Raposo much finishing upside. He has power. He's knocking these dudes out on the regionals, but he just doesn't go for it. Aspinall sub plus 300. It seems to be a popular play. Subhuman. Gane decision numbers are wild. Would predict that Tom gets him out early, but I feel like some play decision, yeah. The only thing is, how's Tom going to look in a 5-rounder? I would hate that you have a good read and then, first time over 1.5 rounds, Tom is okay round 2 and 3, but 4 and 5, he's just completely done. And then you're like, damn, I had a good read and lost it. Volkov decision, Aspinall first round sub. By the way, that reminds me, I played Francis Ngannou decision over Gane at $15 plus 1,500. Last second, just put $50 on it. Didn't expect it to hit, and especially when Cyril Gane was 2-0 up. And then when Ngannou won round 3 with wrestling, and then when he won round 4, I'm like, man, we're live here. We're live. The good old days. I don't really play plays like that anymore. I just don't feel like I want to waste even $50 on my bankroll. Alrighty. Jacqueline Amarim versus Mizuki Inway. I'm basically just playing some same game parlay props. Amarim, 1 takedown, starts round 2. Shout out to Aussie fight fans sharing that on Twitter. Maksum should beat Raposo, maybe a parlay piece. Same as Hamdi. Jose Delgado, I'll lean him and the under. Walker, Sutherland, who the hell knows? Poke round 1 again, hope for the best. Rebecki, Klein. From a money line, it's tough, but I lean the under here. Actually, it doesn't go because these guys have finished fights over 2.5 rounds a bunch of times. Ikram Park, really close on Park. Actually, I might lock in that handicap, honestly. Nasrat, Salkilld, a pick and fight. It feels forced, but I'm leaning Quinlan. Rakic, I guess I ran Rakic. I ran the over 2.5 rounds. Volkov, I'm just feeling Volkov KO. But official play, if I had to play something, it probably ends round 1, round 2. Umar, Bautista, nothing here. Werner, not really interested. Live bet fight. And Gane, Aspinall, I'll play the over 1.5 rounds if I had to. That's it. No official plays just yet. It's, as I said, I've taped this whole card. I was getting good reads, but from a betting perspective, actually I have $50 on Amarim to get 1 takedown in round 1 and fight to start round 2. It's paying $17. But that's dabble. That's it. That's just some unique bookie in Australia. Alrighty. Thanks for listening. Peace out. Like and subscribe and leave a comment.